Emoji,
yes.
Smiley face,
Sent.
smiley emoji.
Oh, sorry guys.
Oh,
it's Advanced Weekly Update time.
Yeah, we didn't see you there. We were just texting. You ever have the problem where you're on your phone all the time? I feel like my phone is the #1 distraction in my life. And today in our February 6th article, unless you're in a different time zone and it's February 5th, we are talking about phones and how they are impacting the young people in our world today. It's probably something you think about, and I feel like we all have an opinion on phones and young people, even if we don't say it.
Yeah, we don't have problems at all with phones. It's only the young people, right?
Yeah, it's always the young people.
We're really disciplined. We don't spend too much time on Facebook, right?
Wrong. I looked at my screen time today, and I'm like, no, this is time I should be doing other things. Yeah. So we'll talk about phones in just a second. But first, if you are out there and you are listening to our live streams, if you're listening to our live streams, please send us a message. Help. Yes. Please say hi. We do care about you. We'd like to meet you. Just type in your favorite English way of your favorite English greeting.
Yeah, maybe it's like, what's up? That's a really informal one.
What's up? What is up? Yeah. Or sup, apostrophe S-U-P. If you want to sound like a young millennial who's texting, type S-U-P. It means what's up.
Yeah.
What's another way of saying hi?
Hello.
Hello. You can say hello.
How's it going?
How's it going?
By the way, a lot of times when people ask that, they don't really want you to tell them, how it's really going. It's just a way of saying hello. Sometimes maybe they really want to know.
Yeah, maybe they do.
But generally speaking, like if you start telling them all your troubles, they may be like, "Oh, I just was asking. I was just saying hello."
Yeah, that. Yeah, do people actually mean what is up when they say what's up?
Sometimes they do, and a lot of times it depends on the relationship you have with that person, because you're not going to spill all of your troubles and problems with just anybody, and also the tone in which they say it, right? And they might even say, no, how's it really going? Like, how are you really doing?
I'm a sharer, so I like telling people how I'm doing, hopefully that they can share too. But we do want to hear how you're doing, what is up. But please say hi in the comments below. We'd like to know who's listening. Okay. Phones. I think phones are a big help, but also a big problem. That's kind of my opinion summed up. What do you think of phones?
Yeah, they definitely can be a big distraction.
Yeah.
I sometimes spend too much time on my phone, although I don't feel like I'm like super addicted to social media per se.
Okay.
Some people might disagree.
You're on Facebook?
I am on Facebook and Instagram. I do spend some time on there. But when I'm on there, John, I tend to get bored after a few minutes.
Okay.
I can't like just spend like tons of time on there. Although maybe it feels like a few minutes and it's actually longer. That's also a problem. Like you look up and it's 30 minutes. But generally speaking, I feel like it's not a terrible problem, but I could definitely reduce it a bit.
Same, for sure. TikTok is what we want to talk about today. See what I did there? TikTok has been in the news. In America, TikTok is under a lot of fire for sharing people's information. But more importantly, kids in schools are using TikTok all the time, sometimes even in class. If you were a teacher, what would you do? And
if there are any teachers watching and you have trouble with students using their phones in class, let us know what you do. How do you get them to put their phones away? What are your rules?
Yeah. Sup, guys, by the way, in the comments. Sup. And if you want to sound even cooler, you can say, sup, bro. Bro is short for brother. We're teaching you all the slang, fun English today
we do hear from,
that you don't get in advance.
Mary. She says, I can't discipline myself about concerning your phone. And, well, we all can relate to that. It's hard to discipline yourself. Because it's always around. When you ever have a few minutes, it's easy to just pull your phone out and be like, okay, what's going on Instagram or whatever. And before you know it, you've been on there for 30 minutes.
I know. There's a proverb in the Bible that says, your eye never has enough of seeing and your ear never has enough of hearing.
That's really good.
When you eat food...
What does that mean?
Well, it means you have appetites for your eyes and for what you want to hear, right? You might have an appetite for just seeing sports. And just like you have an appetite for food, your eye also has an appetite. All of us, we want to see things, but it never gets filled up, unlike our tummies, our stomachs, where we'd eventually have enough food. We could just keep watching.
Well, there's actually like a psychological component, which I'm sure we've covered before in advance. Like when you get likes on posts that you posted, right, on social media, that has some sort of effect on you psychologically, and you want to see, do I have more likes? And that can be kind of part of the addiction as well.
Yeah, and for kids, this is the real question. How do we help our young people? Let's start by our poll question. What do you think? At what age should students be allowed to use phones in class? That's our vocab for today, allow. If you allow something to happen, if you allow your kids to do something, it means you let them do it. There's a rule that they can do it. Do you think kids in grade school, before 8th or 9th grade, should be able to use their phones? Maybe in high school, they can use their phones. What about college? They're independent, right? They're almost adult. They're basically adults. Yes. Or after college, grad school, PhD. Should anybody be allowed to use their phones in class? Are you using your phone right now? You're probably watching us on your phone, right? It's okay. You can be on your phone.
And John, I'm wondering, for all of you, why would you let your kid use your phone at a certain age, especially maybe younger? Like, is it for safety issues? Yeah. Are you concerned about, getting in contact with them whenever you want?
Yes.
What is the reason behind it?
Okay, and you had a cell phone in high school?
High school, I believe, I'm a bit older, right? So I had those older phones. I don't know if it was like a flip phone or something like that. I think when I was in high school, because I remember keeping it in my car. I had an older car, driving it to school. And so, I remember having one of those old school phones.
You were so old you had one of those car phones.
Okay, come on. I wasn't quite that old.
Just kidding.
That was
remember those car phones?
A few years before.
That was
maybe elementary school. Elementary school.
But I got it in high school too. I think the thinking was transportation, be able to call my mom to pick me up was probably the number one reason. For you, do you think it was that as well?
Yeah, something like that, or safety concern, or you're driving a car, right? So if there's some issue, you may need to call. And I believe it was one of those phones that only had only so many minutes that you could use on it or something. So it was limited, right? So there are limitations you can put on phones too. So maybe you'd like to share about that. Maybe you allow your kid to have a phone, but what are the limitations? But I think more broadly speaking, we want to talk about the distractions that phones can be for kids.
Yeah, that's right. That's the big one. There are lots of different reasons to use a phone. You want your kids to be safe, or maybe do research, or be able to watch movies. Sometimes I let my little son watch, songs on YouTube just to distract him while I do something else. I try not to do it too much.
That works really well for kids.
It works, but you got to be careful, right? Yes. So I'll be the first one to admit that I'm struggling to know how much is too much, but we are definitely seeing an impact in the classroom. We'll go ahead and put up our discussion question now.
Okay.
What impact do you see phones having in children's lives? So what are you seeing? How are young people being affected by their phones? I'm seeing definitely for myself, my attention span is not as long as it used to be. Your attention span, how would you describe attention span?
Well, it's the amount of time that you can give to something, right? And so maybe you're watching this and you're feeling that you're distracted by something else. Maybe you're looking at something else on your phone while you're watching this, or maybe you're just listening to this.
We won't hold it against you.
Yeah, and that's good too. That's all right.
There are a lot of other interesting things out there.
Right. So we all have short attention spans these days, I think, because of social media and so forth. Yeah,
that's true. Teachers are struggling knowing how to discipline the kids in the class. So if kids are supposed to be paying attention to a math or a history lesson, but instead they're sending each other goofy pictures where they have a dog edited over their face, or like emojis, or they're just watching YouTube videos or video game playthroughs. How is anyone supposed to learn? Kids do learn a lot from the internet, but it's not the same as having a structured curriculum in school.
Well, speaking of that, Luna tells us about her teacher who tries to make the phone like a part of the curriculum, a part of the class. They use the, quizzes on Quiz and Book it says. And students use their phones to answer. That's really a creative way to implement phones in the classroom.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about that there are a lot of apps where either through a QR code or a website with a login, everybody can play a game together or take a quiz together. That is a creative way of kind of beating or going around this problem. What do you guys think about that?
Well, Mary goes on to say that she has to control it herself, and that she can't forbid young people to use mobile phones if she doesn't control it herself.
That's
a really good point.
That's a really good point.
It's easy for us to tell other people what to do, especially as adults, and telling kids what to do. Now, of course, in the classroom setting, like, we still have to have certain rules followed. So whether or not, for me, and I'm a teacher in the classroom, whether or not I'm maybe doing that in my personal time, I know that it's healthy for the students. Yeah. But generally speaking, we need to do something ourselves before we can tell someone else to do it.
Totally. You remember Jesus' famous parable about the speck in the eye?
Yes.
Jesus said, don't tell people how to get a speck out of their eye. Like, if someone had something in their eye and you're trying to, let me help you get that out of your eye so you can see clearly. Jesus said, first, look in your own eye. Make sure that there's not a log in your own eye. Take that thing out first so you can help people. He's saying, basically, make sure that you deal with your own problems before so you can help people.
Yeah, sometimes we focus on small problems and others, and we have this huge problem right in front of us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Alan says it's to the benefit of students not to be distracted by the phone during class. Teachers may instruct students to use mobile phones when necessary. Of course, you're right.
I have to agree with you, Alan.
They need to be focused on what they're studying, but they may not feel that way in the moment.
That's right. And teachers have a lot of responsibility. So we need to just try to help each other as much as possible.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can all be a little bit less addicted to our phones. I need to take the speck out of my own eye first. But we're all in this boat together. All right, friends, it's always good to hear from you. Thank you for saying hi. Sup. We will see you next week. I don't know what we're talking about next week yet, but hopefully something exciting.
Yes, so be sure to check out next week's Advanced Weekly Update and check out our radio programs this week and all of our online content. See you guys.
We're proud of you. Keep practicing your English.
Well, I think I got a call.